let me just go into that a little bit, because my prejudice as a lifelong Chicagoan liberal Democrat would have been that to view Mike Madigan as kind of the bully in that fight, and that Blagojevich was the new kid on the block trying to do some progressive things, and that the old guard, Madigan, got testy about his power. Why is it on the governor? Is it just because he's got the executive position to change? Shouldn't both make movement away from their
I think
cemented in position?
You have to look historically at how things played out. The House of Representatives and the Speaker really worked with the governor the early part of his tenure.
That's right.
It was the governor who kind of chose to follow this combative attitude of, I'm going to make the legislator out to be bullies, and it was all politics. It wasn't based in merit. It was picking fights for press sake, and I think that had a downward spiraling effect that the governor never could come out of. It was like an airplane that it starts going down and you can't turn it around. But the truth is, he can wake up every day and say, you know what?
I'm going to do things differently.
We have our unemployment rate is skyrocketing in Illinois. Businesses are closing down. It's going to be a bitter winter, and not just the weather. I mean, it's going to be tough on small businesses. I mean, you're a business person. It's going to be challenges. So my point is, I think it's, he has a year and a half to go in his term. I don't know that he's going to run for re-election. He has a choice to say, I want to work together. I know that my colleagues in the House of Representatives and Mike Madigan, we're tired of the fighting. We want to work together. That's why I really think that having John Cullerton as the Senate president is going to, and the Senate's the same way. They want to work together to solve problems. They are exhausted from the back and forth bickering. They hear it from their constituents, just like I hear it from my constituents when I go to Dominic's. People are tired of the fighting. We have to be responsible, and if we are, we'll help solve the problems. If we're not, I think the voters are going to remember how we conduct ourselves. So
that's right.
I'm really, I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic that things are going to go well. But we've got real financial challenges at the state, and we have to balance that by, not looking to tax people. Being a liberal Democrat myself, I'm very sensitive these days about any kind of tax increases on people and on businesses. I think the sales tax that Todd Stroger put in place has had a chilling effect on business in Chicago and Cook County.
Terrible.
And at the state level, we cannot just say, you know what, we have to raise money by putting it on the backs of people and businesses. So it's going to be a challenging time, but I'm looking forward to the challenge before us over the next 2 years, and we got our work cut out for us.
Well, I'm really happy with Cullerton's appointment, or how you guys voted, right? Or the Senate
voted.
Right.
Senate voted, and they're going to kind of ratify that come back in January.
Well, we should mention, since we're sitting here in Loyola, that John is a Loyola graduate. He was the year in front of me. We were all together, actually, at the same frat house when the lottery was announced and numbers were picked. I'll never forget that night, because Cullerton and a bunch of other guys were biting their nails about the lottery numbers, and tears were shed, and serious times back then when we had a draft, which is a subject for another day. But anyway.
The other good thing about, I think that it's it's going to be an exciting time. Maybe exciting is not the right word. It's going to be a very fluid time politically in our state over the next year. There's going to be a governor's election. There's going to be an attorney general. All the statewide offices are up for re-election.
Right.
The governor's going to appoint a new senator.
Who's he going to appoint?
Well, I'm here to announce it. I have no idea. And if you ask anybody, they don't have any idea either. But I would hope he would pick someone who is, someone who is worthy and will do a great job. But whoever that person is has to start running again for re-election, which to me is important, because whoever the governor picks, the people of the state of Illinois are going to get a chance to vote for a new senator next January. So I think it's going to be an encouraging time in the political system in our state, where a lot of this activism and empowerment and people going to vote they're going to get a chance next February
to exercise.
Yeah, a year from February to exercise that. So it's going to be, you're going to see a lot of changes.
Similarly, Emanuel's seat.
Rahm Emanuel is going to at some point resign his congressional seat, and it's going to be a very active campaign. There are a number of my colleagues in Springfield that are running. There's a number of aldermen that are running. So it's going to be, I'm out of that district, so I kind of get to sit back and watch. But it's going to be, and it's an exciting time, and it's good for the voters. I mean, the more people that you have running, I think it's a good thing. So it's going to be interesting.
So, what would you like to? What is your hope for? Maybe one thing that you think can be accomplished in Springfield, where all of the noise and hubbub put aside, that would be the biggest service to the voters and to the citizens of the state for this very tricky time.
Two things I think is, one is we have to try to deal with the shortfall in revenues and try to manage the budget. My phone is ringing off the hook with service providers, people that provide service for people with disabilities, drug and alcohol services, homeless services, people living with HIV and AIDS. In these tough times that are going to get worse, we have to make sure that those people that are caring for the people that need government's help, that they are having the resources that they need. So one is managing our budget and making sure that these people get the resources that they need to help people in need. The second thing that I really think you're going to see a lot of energy behind is to pass a capital bill, a capital funding bill that would provide money for fixing roads, building roads, improving mass transit, renovating mass transit. I would love to see all the stations on the North Red Line renovated and fixed, the slow zones fixed. That, to me, doing a capital bill across the state is going to put people to work in the construction industry, which trickles down. So it's going to provide long-term infrastructure improvements that are much needed, whether it's roads downstate or whether it's fixing the Red Line. But it's also going to the putting people to work in the buying of the materials and things like that will have a trickle-down effect. It's going to create jobs in our state. So those are the two biggest things I think right now that you're going to see a lot of energy behind. And the question will be, how do we pay for those things, which is going to be kind of the real sticking point.
Right now, this weekend in Chicago is the foodfarmers.org gathering, sustainable and local food people, and it's a really great organization. And I know we worked a little bit with Jan Schakowsky, who is our congressperson here in this district, on trying to get urban representatives on the Agriculture Committee in Washington, because what will be coming down the road soon, I know this, some others know this, is we got an issue with food. And the price of it, whether or not we're growing corn to be eaten or put in a gas tank, all those kinds of issues. This being the state with the deepest and most beautiful soil, if what's left of it, in the nation, are you at all addressing that, or do you guys sort of say, I'm from the city, you guys downstate, you guys have to fight this for us? Because I really feel the time is now for us to unite on questions of agriculture and food policy.